My name is Claire. I am from Cincinnati, Ohio, and I currently live in Fort Worth, Texas, which I have for almost 5 years now. And I'm an artist and an educator. I teach at a couple colleges around North Texas, and yeah, I've been working on some paintings here. I'm mainly a painter at heart, so that's what I've been working on.
Can you tell us about when in your life you began the creative pursuit and like how you found your way there?
Oh, when I started creating, I think I've always been an artist, or at least I always wanted to be. It didn't seem like something that was always feasible when I was younger, but yeah, I always just wanted to paint. There was nothing I cared about at all other than that. So when I got into undergrad at the University of Cincinnati into the fine arts program, that was when I really was like, okay, I'm an artist and this is what I'm doing and this is it and this is the rest of my life. And I think it was the only sort of permission I needed to just pursue it full force. And yeah, I think I was a really introverted kid, so I just would always have my paints. I was always doing something, so yeah, I have some like really embarrassing sketchbooks, I feel like, growing up, but yeah, it's all I've cared about, so here I am. Now I'm just teaching it and doing it, so yeah.
What's your typical day-to-day studio or workspace?
I try to start with at least a half hour of sketching. I really think sketching is a super valuable part of my practice. It really helps with idea generating and figuring out compositions. So I always start with that. And right now I don't currently have a studio at home. I just moved out of my studio at Arts Fort Worth earlier this year, but now I still try to sketch every day in whatever way I can, even if it's just really quick. But I always start with that, and then I'll either designate sort of an object day where I'm working on small sculptural things, or I'll have a painting day where I'm working on more 2D compositions and building up surfaces. So depending on what that day sort of looks like, I'll have something going, and I even have things here. I have like my little rocks here, but yeah, on the object making days, I'm really just going through all of my collections of like cardboard and fabric and craft material scraps and putting things together. And my paintings lately have been really built up surfaces. So I'll either add some objects to that or just try and figure out the 2D composition with paint, and that's the whole day. But I always have a zillion things going at once. It's really important.
Can you talk about a foundation of your inspiration? Is it like a person, a book?
Oh, I think it shifts, but ultimately, if I really think of the core of it, I do think it was a lot of the crafts that we would do growing up, or at least with my mom, we would always be painting rocks for the garden or doing these like flower and water ornaments, or making valentines. And there's a lot of those forms and materials that I still think about on kind of a daily basis. And I still have this one drawing that she did when I was growing up, and it's like an angel, and I'm always thinking about that form now. So I think that's the true core of everything, or at least what I'm always like trying to get back to in a way, because it's such like a tactile, I don't know, like exciting, intimate making experience. And I think I'm always craving that sort of intimacy in my objects now and in the paintings. So for a while I was just working really small, and I'm only now starting to figure out what that looks like when I expand on it. But yeah, lately I read a lot of poetry, and I obviously look at a lot of other painters. So it shifts a little bit, but yeah, that's the foundation, I think.
What is the best piece of advice you've gotten as an artist, and what would you like to share with other artists?
Oh my gosh. The best piece of advice? um, oh my gosh. As an artist, my undergrad mentor, Rebecca Morgan, she always had little phrases. I think, well, she would always say something that was like, do the thing, do the thing. And it was this push to just like, I don't know, go for it and go full force at it. Or like show up for what you want, because that's something I still tell my students now, where it's this investment in yourself and investment in your career as an artist. You just have to show up no matter what it is, even if it's sketching, drawing, showing up to openings, whatever it might be, it's just showing up. But yeah, I think my like the thing that I always go back to, that I have to repeat to myself all the time, is something my best friend from high school, we would always say this. We would always say, feel the fear and do it anyway. And that's kind of like the big one that like rules my life, because I don't know, I think it's like super scary to take big leaps as an artist, or just be an artist at all. So you have to just go for it.
Great, well, thank you. Do you care if we take a look at what you've been working on?
Yeah. Oh my gosh. So I've been working on this table mainly, and I'm trying to fill this sketchbook hopefully while I'm here. But yeah, this is where I really do a lot of my composition building, or sometimes just stream of consciousness sketching, where I'm trying to figure things out. And I started doing these styrofoam like block prints, and these are just some of the forms I've been thinking about. Before I got here, I couldn't stop sketching this like burst composition, so I've been doing that kind of over and over again. And also just thinking about like the form of the circle and the eclipse. That's still living fresh in my brain, trying to figure out how to articulate that. But then I got here, and there's the spiral motif everywhere, which I feel like is really reminiscent of the circle I've been doing. So I'm trying to figure out ways I can incorporate that. And I have all these star forms. Oh, and right when I got here, me and Camille saw this butterfly just sitting on the screen door. So that was one of the first sketches I did. I was trying to figure out that. And I always like the butterflies too, because it reminds me of the angel drawing that I have from childhood, or just like the guardian angel symbol. So I'm trying to figure out how to embed that in a composition. But before I got here, I really wanted to do these series of paintings that really is just the burst, or the star burst, with like this circle in the middle. So the plan is to do 10 of these. So I have 10 here, and I'm trying to play with like different levels of like quietness or really like loud bursts. And the color has been so different here too, so I've been thinking more about the color blue and greens, and really trying to incorporate those, because I feel like normally I look around at my paintings and it's all like pink and purple, and that was never something that I really planned for. But now I'm trying to be really intentional about figuring out colors. So I'm using blue more than I ever have. It's like a color that still feels like a mystery to me, or it's like I wrote about it the other day, it feels almost too powerful or too saturated in a way, and I could never figure out a good way to incorporate like these bright saturated blues. So I'm trying to do that now. And this one I wanted to be like all blue. And I still wanted it to be this like burst composition where everything is really central and it just like radiates out. And that's kind of, I get really fixated on certain compositions. And earlier this year, I couldn't stop doing these like heart compositions. And I would just do that over and over and over. I would do like, basically I was making Valentines. And now I can't stop thinking about the circle and the burst and like the shape of like the moon and all these things. So yeah, I'm trying to do it in my own way, I guess, and make this series. And they're in different stages of completion right now. So I'm going to keep layering them up. But yeah, paper's been like an interesting limitation here because you can't like pile it up as much as I feel like you can on like a canvas or panel, something that's really, really structured, because paper is still sort of delicate and you still have to be really intentional with how you're layering. So that's been an interesting challenge for me as like someone who's super, super additive. I just always want to add things. But yeah, it's been really fun to sort of figure these out. I feel like these paintings are always kind of like a puzzle for me. But like I said, I always have a zillion things going at once because I'm too like scatterbrained to kind of focus in on one thing at a time. So this is like my way of figuring it out, just doing all 10 all at the same time. But yeah, I really want to do like something with the movement of it. I went to an artist talk earlier this year, and the artist was Ju Young Che, and she said that the worst thing you can do to a painting that wants to be alive is like leave it still. So she would like animate some of her things or make these stop motions with puppets. And I kind of feel that way when I'm making these like modular parts of the painting, like the little additions, or painting the rocks. So what I want to do while I'm here is do like a stop motion with some of these and make the marks like move around the circle, kind of like a spiral, because I do want it to be like alive and activated in that way. So that's the plan. I'm gonna do that with the rocks. So